Mermaid is the latest Disney live-action remake of an old Disney animated classic. It's directed by Rob Marshall. It stars Halle Bailey, aka Ariel, the Little Mermaid. You've also got Melissa McCarthy, you've got Javier Bardem, Jacob Tremblay, you've got Awkwafina, you've got Daveed Diggs. Just in case you don't know the story of the Little Mermaid, which you do, you should. I mean, it is a Disney classic after all. So basically, Ariel is this teenage mermaid that lives under the sea with her sisters and her father, King Triton. She is very curious about the surface world. More specifically, she's very curious about humans. And so one time she goes to the surface and she saves a prince from a shipwreck. After she saves this prince, she falls in love with him. And then when her father forbids her from going to the surface world, she makes a deal with the evil sea witch Ursula, in this movie played by Melissa McCarthy. She makes a deal with this bitch to become a human, but as you know, almost every deal comes with some kind of downside. So the movie deals with that, her being a human but also being a mermaid. I have very fond memories of The Little Mermaid. I was kind of obsessed with Disney and all those animated movies back in the day, which I figure if you were a kid growing up in that era, you would be obsessed with Disney. Aladdin, Tarzan, Jungle Book, Fox and the Hound, Hercules, that's another underrated one. Oliver and Company, Oliver and Company is probably my favorite. So when I heard that they were making a live action remake of The Little Mermaid, I kind of rolled my eyes, because let's face it, Disney's live action remakes have been anything but a huge success. I mean, sure, they've been a success financially, but I'm just talking about like the quality of the movies. I mean, half of them have been dog shit. So I was not excited when I first heard they were making a Little Mermaid movie. Then I heard that Halle Bailey was going to be the Little Mermaid, and you know what? I was on board.
She's so fine, she done pissing me off. How are you that fine?
I gotta say, after seeing the movie, my faith in Halle Bailey was absolutely rewarded. As far as like my misgivings about the movie, well, we'll talk about that. But Halle Bailey is the thing that I have to start off this review talking about, because she was fucking brilliant in this movie. And I'm sorry to use that kind of language in a Disney review, but it just needs to be said. She was mesmerizing. She stole every single scene. She is the superstar. She's front and center in this movie. She is the most watchable thing throughout the entire runtime. Everything that I know about Ariel is captured perfectly by Halle. The curiosity, the naivety, that bright, happy energy that Ariel has. She also has this charm and this simplistic charisma to her that just makes Ariel one of those really likable characters. She's also fine as hell, but then she's also got a really beautiful voice. If they got an actress to do this part and she couldn't pull off the singing parts convincingly, it probably would have broken the entire movie. I feel like most of the rest of the cast did a pretty good job too. Melissa McCarthy, I was a little bit worried about this casting choice. Melissa McCarthy is definitely trying to bring something else to this character of Ursula, a little bit more edge, a little bit more husk in her voice. I'm not the biggest fan of Flounder's design. I think there's a way that they could have done it to make him look more, I don't know, animated or more emotive. I'm not really sure what word I'm trying to use here. Then again, when you look at other ways that they've tried to recreate Flounder for a live action audience, it's not looking good there either. You know what? Maybe Flounder is just not the easiest character to translate to live action. But Jacob Tremblay did a good job voicing Flounder. Daveed Diggs is the voice that I kind of had to warm up to a little bit. Probably around the under the sea portion of the movie is when I finally was like, hey, you know what? I've heard worse. It could be worse. I think he's doing a good job. He's doing all right. Normally, I'm so annoyed by Awkwafina. I can't stand her in almost every other movie, but in this movie, she's kind of still annoying, but it kind of works for this character. Scuttle was annoying in the animated movie too. The visuals for the movie are gorgeous. This is a very good looking movie, well-lit ocean scenes, a lot of colors, a lot of vibrancy. Sure, almost every scene, there's obvious CGI cutting into the frame, but for the most part, it looks good, it's shot well. That's what you want from a movie about water. Is it Avatar or Aquaman in terms of how they depict the underwater scenes? No, not necessarily. I feel like the movie captured most of the spirit, most of the soul of the original animated movie. They do add some stuff in here. It is a longer runtime than the animated movie, as you would expect. I would say the movie's like 85% accurate. There's some stuff they leave out, there's some stuff they bring in. The music is really good, the performances are really good, and Halle is really good, and that's really all I was hoping for out of a movie like this. I do think there's kind of some clunky pacing going on in this movie. The beginning of the movie feels like it's rushing through everything almost too fast. There's other parts of the movie, especially as we get into the second act, that feel like the movie is taking way too much time to get to where it needs to get to, and that's because they add a lot of stuff in. Some of the new stuff they add in, it does work. Some of the new stuff they add in, I wasn't a big fan of. Some of the songs don't work. Some of the decisions to include certain stuff and leave certain stuff out, I was kind of like, well, if you had left this in, it would have improved the movie. You put this in instead. I'm not sure that it actually does improve the movie. I also have some small nitpicks with the screenplay in relating to characters and people and the rules of the world that they establish in this movie, and how these rules sometimes clash with each other to make some stuff not make that much sense. Fan nitpicks and things that I don't think are executed as well as the animated series. Nitpicks aside, I actually really enjoyed this movie. As far as a Disney live action remake, I was expecting the worst. Halle Bailey is absolutely brilliant. She carries this movie on her dorsal fin, as I said. The movie does a good job at bringing the emotion to certain scenes that are required. The score really helps aid that a little bit. Holy shit, a good live action Disney remake. What is the world coming to? I'm gonna leave this one in the Daily Planet. Those are my thoughts on The Little Mermaid. If you've seen it this weekend, how would you think it compares to the original animated movie? Go ahead and give me your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.